On today's episode of Watch Go, we're going to talk about making a conscious decision to buy the most hated car in recent history. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Go, and today we are here to talk about the Dodge Neon. The Dodge Neon, one of the greatest cars from the past. The cheap ones had excellent fuel economy. The SRT was just unbelievable to drive, especially with 50 trim and 60 trim setups. What a good car. And Dodge, after they let the Neon go, had a hole in their heart. And all they thought was, we got to replace it with something. So they built the Caliber and they built the Avenger. And those were bad. Those were pretty bad. Now the Caliber SRT4, of course, is amazing. And the Avenger, I think the Rally is like, it's kind of a car. But that didn't sell well. Those cars, they did terribly for Dodge. They did them no favors. The Avenger ended up looking super ugly and dated within a year or two, and they released this. And what this car is a Fiat Viaggio. It's one of the first cars from the Fiat Chrysler partnership, and the point of this car was so they could rush something through production that got 40 miles a gallon. This one doesn't do that. Once in a great while when you're going downhill, this probably gets 40 miles a gallon. But the one that actually gets 40 miles a gallon is the 1.4 turbocharged Fiat engine, pretty much the same engine that was in my Fiat 500. Of course, you know, in that car, it's a killer drivetrain. A manual transmission, it makes tons of power with the tune and some bolt-ons, and it's a very fun car to drive. And you put it in this, not quite as fun. So this is my 2013 Dodge Dart SXT. So the SXT is like a mid-level trim. There's SEs, SXTs, Limited, GT, Aero for excellent fuel economy, and I think that's the one that actually gets 40 miles a gallon. But this is a mid-level trim Dodge Dart, what most of the Dodge Darts that were sold actually are. As a bonus, this Dodge Dart is powered by a very boring 2-liter dual overhead cam engine and not one of the multi-air engines from Fiat. You could have the 2.4 liter multi-air, and you could have the 1.4 liter multi-air. And if you guys know anything about multi-air, eventually that brick fails and your engine's done until you get a new multi-air module, and they are crazy expensive, like $1,400, $1,500, something like that. So I'm very excited that this has a boring old dual overhead cam 2-liter under the hood, 4-cylinder. It makes 160 horsepower, 148 foot-pounds of torque, and it works. Now here's where the Dart gets really funny. So the Dart needed to be rushed to market. Like I said, it was the first car that Fiat Chrysler developed as a group, and they needed to hit 40 miles a gallon, and they wanted to put a 9-speed in these things. None of them got 9 speeds because the 9-speed didn't work at that time. This car actually has a Hyundai PowerTech 6F24 transmission in it, which is a 6-speed automatic, and I think it's a great transmission. It does exactly what the car needs to do. It's got 6 speeds, so it gets pretty good fuel economy once it's out on the highway and it can stretch its legs. And it's a transmission. It does what it's supposed to do, and I'm a big fan of Hyundai drivetrains front to back, especially in this era. So it works out really, really well. There were a bunch of other options like a dual clutch. A bunch of them got 6-speed manuals, which is kind of cool, but doesn't work out for what I bought this thing for. And these cars, for the most part, came pretty loaded from the factory. It's actually really nice for a base model trim. Now the Dart didn't last long. I think it ran from 12 to 16 before they killed off the production. And guess what they did after that? They re-released it as the Neon in Mexico, and it looks basically exactly the same as the Dart. They talked about bringing it back, but it sold so horribly in the US that really it just didn't work out for Dodge, Fiat at all. They said this car was one of the biggest money losers they ever developed, and it sold horribly compared to all of the other cars in the compact segment, like the Chevy Cruze and, well, all the other compact cars in the segment. The Ford Focus probably crushes these things, and I think it crushes the Cruze as well. I mean, the Focus is clearly the compact car in the US. So the Dart died again in the US, but it was reincarnated in Mexico as the Neon. So today we're gonna take a tour of my 2013 Dodge Dart SXT. You guys, tell me what you think about this car. Do you think was it worth saving? Was it a good car? Would you buy one? Let me know in the comments. But first, let's go on a tour of this thing. We're gonna kick this one off back here at the key. It has a remote start, which is an option. This one is equipped with it. If it was a Limited or a GT, it would probably just have remote start as standard. Let's see, we can open the trunk on the remote. We've got a backup camera back there. Obviously standard these days by federal law, but back then, this was probably one of the first years that had to have it. I think 2013 was where cars had to have it. Looks like we're missing the little cloth trim piece right there out of the trunk for the tail lights. A pretty roomy trunk with what appears to be a ski pass-through. Let's push. I think that opens up. And the seats definitely flip down. Let's take a look back here. Look at that, we got a spare jack. Everything looks good to go there. All right, close this trunk. It does have LED taillights, which was kind of fancy in 13. So that's a nice touch. Let's take a look at the tag lights too. I think that's incandescent. This was right in the middle of cars getting really good. So 16-inch wheels, they look nice. Disc brakes all the way around. We have projector headlights, kind of a modern headlight design with the Dodge logo floating in there. These definitely need polished up. This car looks like it has not been washed since the day it was new. It is incredibly dirty, and I cannot wait to clean this up. I think it'll look really good once it's detailed. If we just do like a, hopefully you can see the difference there. It's massive. I mean, a good polish and this paint should come back to life. Very, very dead paint, very, very dirty car. And the rockers and everything they're almost black with the dirt. It looks like a gradient going down the car. Let's open up these doors. We've got tinted windows. Helps if you unlock the car. There we go. Keyless entry was actually an option on these if you have higher trims, and also push button start. You actually have to insert the key on the 13 Dart. We've just got a nice black basic looking interior. I think the seats are very supportive. A few steering wheel controls here, cruise control on the wheel. This lets you navigate the menus in the cluster, and it has those weird buttons on the back of the steering wheel Dodge loves to do. This side's volume, this side is channels, track, stuff like that. Here we have a nice big touchscreen. I think this is the 8.4 inch, which is incredible in a car that was this cheap. Radio controls here, traction, hazard, and we have the climate control there. This is the shifter for that power tech. You can go all the way down in the drive and bump it up and down to change gears. Little 12 volt power right there, cubby there, cubby there. There's little cubbies in each side of the center. Here's the glove box. For some reason it has a paper clip. I guess that is a literal clip for paper there, and then a pin goes in there, and the glove box is so deep. This is a huge Yeti, a huge Yeti. Take a look at this. You can't even see where it went. That might be one of the biggest glove boxes ever. The manual's in here. Ew, the manual came with eyelashes. This was a girl's car, I guess. We're just gonna put that away. I don't need that anymore. Another cool feature you might notice here, if you pull up on this tab, this seat is storage. And it's also, well, big enough to put something in there. I don't know what, like a package of baby wipes would fit there. It's not a ton of room. It does lock closed, and being a base model, none of the seats are power on this car. The door panels look good. They've got some cool swoopiness to them, kind of a floating armrest, and there's plenty of storage in there. Let's take a look at the back. Here in the back, we still have like a black interior, and this is that ski pass through, I would guess. Oh, look at that, more storage. Not bad, not bad. And then there's your ski pass through, and I'm gonna assume the seats flip right here. There you go, little storage pocket right there on the center, some little seat back pockets, but that's about it for the rear seat. Nothing noteworthy back there at all. And that brings us all the way back around to the driver's seat. So let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. We'll check out that 2-liter 4-cylinder. This absolutely blows my mind. This car has 106, basically 107,000 miles on the clock, and it looks brand new, as new cars do, honestly. New cars hold up so well. Look at all this metal. It's all like nice, clean, shiny, no damage on the wiring harness or anything like that. You can see the transmission right there, probably super easy to service. ECU is on 2 cam locks, comes right out. Battery covered in the factory battery blanket. There's the jump terminal under there. But it's just incredibly clean. This is gonna wash up and look like a new car. Even the alternator looks brand new. Everything under the hood looks brand new, and this thing's just never been cleaned. So once we actually wash this, get in here with a bit of a brush, I think it's gonna clean up and look like a new car. I'm sure you all wanna see this because that is a gigantic piece of plastic. Well, it's not easy to take out either, is it? Well, a little bit of oil in there. Not as perfect as I expected, but I bet it just needs a valve cover gasket. Yeah, you can see some seepage over there. I think I can do a valve cover gasket on this and it'll be good for a very long time. Throttle body's beautiful inside, super clean. Let's see, what's in here? Is it the math? Maybe it's just intake air temp. It is. All right, that's the only thing running into this gigantic cover. The previous owner told me the only problem he ever had with this was a couple evap codes from time to time, and he'd replaced the gas cap. He owned it for quite a while, and it went away and never came back up again. I scanned it when I picked it up. It didn't look like it had been cleared or anything recently, and there were no codes. So I think this thing is pretty solid, but we added one thing to the to-do list. I better get that knocked out. Heading inside the Dart, let's take a look at this thing. It's got electric power steering. So of course, nearly impossible to turn right now. As soon as we turn it to run, well, might actually have to be running for the EPS on this. There we go. Power steering magic right there. Auto driver down window. None of the other windows are auto on this thing. It looks like the buttons might have been replaced. There's the gas door open. Trunk open down there under the light controls. Auto lights, which is obviously awesome. And there's our cluster dimming, and I'm not quite sure what, oh, that must be the ambient lighting. It is. Yeah, look at that. You can see the red ambient lighting around the gauges. It gets nice and bright, or it can be all the way off if you want. Lighted sun visors. All right, I'm kind of impressed. Let's see if the passenger one is. It better be. Obviously, it's the more important one. Yep, it works. Cool. A little bit of staining on the headliner and on that visor. I'll have to clean that off. We've got a mirror that's bad, the rearview mirror. It's kind of delaminating internally, and that's pretty much the only problems with this car so far that I'll need to knock out. Obviously, the gauges, they do exactly what you want. You've got temp, fuel, RPM, mile per hour, and you can throw a few other things into the center display there. The infotainment does what it needs to do. It plays music. Oh, look at that, the armrest slides. I did not know. It's got one of those adjustable sliding armrests there. These came in the sunglasses holder, some Foster Grants. And here we have the center console. We've got an SD slot, USB, aux in, 12-volt power for, you know, your phone, charger, whatever you want. And then under this sliding cover right here is the CD player, because apparently they didn't have room for it in the dash. Come on, Dodge, you could have just made that giant screen slide. So that is a tour of my new, very, very cheap Dodge Dart SXT. Let's get it out on the road, take it for a drive. We've got it out on the 2-lane back roads right now, and it's chugging right along. The Dart drives exactly like you would expect, kind of like a refrigerator would drive if you could drive one down the road. Just everything does what you expect. Cruise control does what you expect. It has a great infotainment setup with a huge drawback. There's no Bluetooth in here. We've got aux in, USB, a CD player, AM, FM, but no Bluetooth, and somehow it doesn't have XM either. The climate control is a little annoying because it's not auto, but it's all in the screen. So they made it complex while making it work worse. If it was auto, there would be no problem. But there's no vibration in the front end or anything. It drives straight down the road. I'm letting go of the wheel right there. It tracks exactly like you would expect. It's got a nice little information screen in the cluster showing us that we're getting 40 miles a gallon at the moment, which is incredible. Auto headlights. I mean, it has the right complement of features for a daily driver, or possibly a rental car or fleet car or something like that. And you know what? There's quite a few of these things on the road that people drive every day. Other than a few inconveniences compared to modern cars, I'd say it's kind of everything you need in a car. It's basic transportation, that's for sure, with a nice infotainment screen, and the transmission snaps off the shifts just fine. It kind of does what you would expect, and you can command the shifts as well when it's in manual mode. Here we're taking off up a hill. It's not fast. This is wide open throttle. 50, 60, yeah, there. I anticipated the 60 a little too soon, but it was climbing a huge hill. It's not quite that slow. The suspension feels great. I really don't have anything bad to say about this car. It seems like it does everything I want. It will go around a corner. It might not do it very precisely, but it does everything you want. If there's one thing I can say about the Dart SXT seats, the bolsters are really good, and it's somehow super comfy. It has very, very plush cloth cushions. So it's sporty, but it's a very supportive sporty. And it has a lot more give than most sport seats and stuff like that. Tire pressure sensors on all 4 wheels, that's pretty cool. Average mile per gallon is 32 currently. which I think that's pretty impressive. All right, that's driving a Dodge Dart SXT. Let's get back to the shop. Now, it might not have been the cheapest Dart in the nation, but I can tell you that it was way less than all the other ones around here. And I'm gonna use it for a very cool project. And we're gonna go over everything this car cost me and how much money it's gonna make. I'm pretty excited about it. We're gonna start a new series with this right after we clean it up and fix the valve cover gasket in the mirror. So there you go, from Dodge Neon to Dodge Caliber to the It's a Car Dodge Dart and back to the Dodge Neon in Mexico. 4 generations of a compact car. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjargo.com where you can get cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. It already drove an hour home. I'm super pleased with it. I think it's pretty reliable, nice and smooth. And I don't have to replace anything because these tires are brand new back here. Brand new. Look at the date code is 2221. And those front tires have tons of tread on them. This is a really, really solid car. And it was sold in Winfield before. So it's a Kansas car, 3 owners, clean Carfax. It might be a little less clean than Carfax says. Here's the part of the SXT I'm excited about. Somebody like rubbed this, spray a little quick detailer on there. Let's see what happens. Wow. All cleans right up. This is gonna look incredible. 2 more notes after driving this thing for a while. It has 3 flash on the turn signals, which is obviously one of the greatest features ever. I really can't stand driving cars without it. And the headlights are atrocious, probably some of the worst on any modern car. The housings look really good, but the beam just lands on the ground like 15 foot, 20 foot in front of the car. You cannot see very far at all. So bad headlights, great turn signals.